Life has a way of surprising us, and sometimes that means finding ourselves single again. But that's Single Again with LFA and Barbs. We believe in embracing change and finding beauty in every moment.
Join our community of strong individuals who are ready to take action and create a life they love. Together, we'll navigate the twists and turns of being single again, finding beauty in every moment. So whether you're redefining your goals, finding new passions, or simply seeking connection, let's embark on this beautiful journey together.
Search for Single Again with LFA and Barbs on your favorite podcast platform. It's time to embrace a single again status and live a life that's lively, encouraging, and beautiful.
Single Again
with LFA and Barbs,
where your story
begins.
All right, everybody, welcome back again. The Single Again with LFA and Barbs. So let's talk about the bold decision. When was it that you realized that I'm out? Of course, I'm going to share mine too. What was the decision that prompted you to take that bold step? Like, you know what? It's time.
Yeah, it's time to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I've been married twice and come out of both. So the first time, the decision that pushed me out was physical abuse. And that didn't happen twice. It happened once. And I was out of the door because I had gone through so much, tolerated all of this, put up with certain things. And then this is a person that presumably really loves me and got married to me. And then now actually is able to raise their hand to me. Which means if as soon as you allow it to do it the second time, it's never going to stop.
It's never going to stop.
One of the things that really moved me on was the fact that I suddenly became very, very, very afraid of him. I became afraid of him to the fact he used to travel, so he's not at home all the time. But all I have to do is when he leaves the house or when he's coming to the house, put his key in the door, my heart jumps. So I realized I had become afraid of him. And that meant it was no longer safe for me to be in his environment. And it's also his response and his reaction to that, the aftermath of this physical abuse where there were police involved, but I called police. I wasn't expecting it. So it was a shock, it was scary, it was painful. He was blasé about it. And make a statement like, well, I'm not the first person to hit my wife. So he's okay. And traditionally, family would gather around and try to solve.
Yeah.
He had advice from his uncle saying, you cannot let this woman go. You need to apologize. I was in the kitchen one day. He came to stand behind me. And as soon as I feel him coming towards me, I start to get anxiety. So he's standing behind me and goes, well, they said I should say sorry, so I'm saying sorry. So I ignored it. And then,
you know something? Why do we do this in the African society that the woman always have to say sorry?
No, he was saying sorry, not me. I was in the kitchen. He has been told to come and say sorry, otherwise he's going to lose me. So this is his way of apologizing. He comes to stand behind me and says, well, they told me to come and apologize, so I'm apologizing.
Wow, that's similar.
Yeah, so I ignored it. Yes. So I ignored it. And then he goes, well, you're not even listening to me. I'm supposed to be saying sorry. I'm now not talking to you. I said, I'm sorry. Well, if you're not going to listen, then that's it. Me, I've said my sorry.
Wow.
There was no apology there. Because if my husband has accidentally hit me and he's apologizing, is this something that, first of all, even if he's been encouraged by family, no, where's the love and care that really shows a remorse? So for me, that was the day that I realized I'm on a slippery slope, because if he can apologize for this, the rest of my life together is going to take an advantage. He's got to be at his beck and call. So I had 4 children. I'm scared of this man. He's not going to be here. How do I leave? You know, and then, I reached out to a couple of friends in church, and then they're all starting to tell you about how you really survived this for too long and the abuse is ongoing and we've seen so many things, we haven't said anything. So it's actually, I don't know whether they feel they're encouraging you, but it's depressing you more. And then I got myself to a position where I thought, I've just got to get out of it. this. So how do I get out? Grabbed my children and left the house. And then it became a problem. What woman leaves a home? You need to stick your heels in and tell him you're not going. I said, what people are not understanding is they haven't had a sit-down disagreement and said, okay, I stay in the house with the children. You go and find yourself out. I'm afraid of this man hurting me more.
Yes.
So my children and I need to get out. I had gone through that period about 3 times within 12 months of nearly having a major accident with all my children in the car.
Oh my goodness.
So I could never sit there and consider. I could not sit there and consider the benefits of society, of having it all, having the money, because without my sanity, without my safety, what happened? So I had to become single again. I had to become single again and actually take the steps and the risks. And I've gone back to school at the time.
That's a bold step, and I really applaud you for that. Honestly, for every woman out there and every man, because most of the time it's both ways. Sometimes the men find themselves in such situations. Yes, I just want to applaud you for taking that bold step. And I want to say that if you're going through anything and you think, I have to say this, if you're in an abusive relationship and you know that you are in danger and your children are in danger, please leave.
Yeah.
I don't care whether you're a child of God. I have to say that because a lot of the time we as Christians, we are ignorant of that.
Your story begins here. Single again. Single with LFA and Barbs.
Abuse is abuse.
Yeah.
The cycle of abuse continues.
You need to break it.
Yeah. The abuse is triggered.
You need to break it.
The abuse occurred. The abuser comes and apologizes. You accept the apologize. The honeymoon phase wears out. Abuse is triggered again. Abuse is committed. Comes and apologizes. You accept an honeymoon and it continues. For me.
And I think one of the things, as you say, based on our faith as Christian women or men who are in an abusive relationship. The Bible is against divorce. The Bible doesn't say abuse your partner because the Bible engages the man to love your wife as Jesus loved the church.
I was listening to something yesterday. I was listening to conversation with John and Lisa Bever, and I'm crediting the statement to Lisa Bever of Messenger International. And Lisa said something. God hates divorce, but God does not hate you as a divorced woman or a divorced man. God hates divorce because of the impact that divorce has on his children. He said it in the Bible.
Yeah.
He said that we are the weaker vessel, and that's why the man is supposed to honor us and treat us because we're fragile, treat us well. Now, if we are being divorced, and this is what she said, because it may make my daughter cruel.
Yes, it does. Because she will see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So God does not hate you. If you're listening to this out there and you're thinking that, if I divorce him, that means I backslided. That means I have jumped ship. That means that I failed in the faith. That means I am a failure. Guess what? You are not a failure. First, save yourself. In a crisis, as social workers, we are always taught, remove yourself first.
Save yourself first.
Yes, and then think of how you can save every other person. You cannot save others and stay there.
No. And I think sometimes I say to people to relate yourself in the airplane. Because when the person comes to give you the safety advice, he says, put your mask on first before you put your child on. Because if you're not safe, you can't save anybody. And I think sometimes we're more worried about societal and church impact. Some of the people who you go to church with and perhaps are the one who are judging you, they're not the people closest to you and knows what you're going through. You'll probably find you haven't even had a conversation with them about your life, but they feel they have the authority because their human nature is. That's why God encourages us not to be judge and jury of anybody's life. It's one of the characters of a good Christian. Because as humans, our immediate instinct is to look at something because we say your first impression is a couple of seconds of me seeing you. So we apply that to a whole lot of other things without filter, and actually looking at it and looking at ourselves that actually, this is not my business. Or if I actually want to understand, can I have a conversation with a person? If it's a person I can't approach, then it's not my business. Let me take my mouth out of it. But sometimes by the time a person is being supported, they're very damaged.
Yes.
So there's been all that judgment thrown on them because they were the one that went into the marriage, and they asked somebody, say, you couldn't keep your man. What does that mean? I couldn't keep my man. What is it do you think the man was doing that I couldn't keep? Because it's very different. Relationships are very different. I say to my friends, I don't have a rule to say the man that I've been with you can't. Because the man might get on very well with you. But when they see me, they see a goat. Yeah. So how do you get upset because I knew that person and now they want to be with you? It's very difficult. So leaving a relationship and making the decision to do it is very hard. Not only are you considering you, your children, that man that you're leaving, you're also considering the people outside your home.
Yes.
How am I going to explain myself to people? What do I say when people say, where is he? Or what do I say when my children are crying because he's not here? Because we make the decision to go abroad. Yeah. Then I sit back. It took me 8 years to put up with everything before I left, because it's like this thing I'm talking about, the circle of points that I need to consider. So I go, I'll get very close to saying, can't do this anymore. And I thought, well, you can't do it. What else is good out there?
I don't know if this has ever happened to you. I remember while I was still in my marital relationship, and I had only one child then, and she was really young. I think this was around 2013, I think. Oh, Barbara, I almost eloped with my child from the house, And on that note, I want to wrap up this episode. It is getting interesting, people. It is really getting interesting.
Your story begins here. Single again. Single with LFA&BARBS.
Please, whatever you do, share this podcast. It is for us. This is for us. It is not just for LFA and BARB. This is for us, women, men out there, single again people. Look, let's come together and grow this community. Share, like, subscribe, write a review on wherever you listen to your podcast. Just share, subscribe, write a review. Yes, and let us know what you want us to talk about. What are the challenges you're facing? How are you overcoming the challenges? How did you make your decision? When did you come to that stage where you decided that, you know what, I think it is time I have to leave? Well, on the next episode, Bob and I will continue. This is also long. I don't know if we're ever going to finish this decision-making process and what comes next. But in our next episode, we will be exploring some other topic, which will include the culture where we find ourselves, our church, our community, the people in our lives. Because decision-making is not just about you, especially when you're married. And coming from Africa, you're not just marrying that one man or that one woman. You're marrying the whole family. So in our next episode, please stay tuned. Bob and I would explore again, arriving at a decision, what you have to tell everybody in your life together at that time before you start separating yourself and all of that. Until then, we will see you in our next episode. Please stay tuned again, like, share, and subscribe. From me, bye. Bob.
Bye.
Your story begins here. Single again with LFA and BARBS.